Weird night in the NBA. All right. Welcome back to the Run.down post game show here on the Strickland YouTube channel. If you're listening to this today after the Strickland Podcast Network, I am Sam. I am joined by Jeff, Tyrese, and Schwinn. Knicks win 101-92. Basically, basically securing the Knicks getting a top six seed, barring any insanity. And we know insanity can ensue in this league and with this Knicks franchise. But Knicks win 101-92, jumping to 44-33. Shout out Emmanuel quickly and Quentin Grimes. I think that is the best place to start. We will get into all the RJ Barretts and the Julius Randles of it all. But let's start positive. Quentin Grimes, Emmanuel quickly. They have both been on a tear recently. I mean, quickly has been on a tear for like the greater part of like the last like what 40 plus games, securing basically 6 man of the year. I think at this point, if you haven't already, on the Strickland's Twitter page, there was a clip from Zach Lowe, who's basically saying like he basically all but wrapped it up. He didn't even need that performance versus Houston, but I mean, all these extra performances are just the nice little icing, sprinkles, cherry on top to Emmanuel quickly 6 man of the year trophy that he will be hoisting in the playoffs. But yeah, him and Quentin Grimes, another great game from both of them. Um, I thought, Grimes, um, just he looks more confident now. Like he's actually getting to touch the ball a bunch. And I was worried with Jalen Brunson coming back today that, ooh, is Quentin Grimes gonna still touch the ball anymore? Like, is he gonna be able to like get up shots? But hey, he put up 14 shots, hit 8 of them, 5 of 10 from the 3 point line. And it's great momentum for him. I think going into the playoffs, you really want someone like him rolling going into the playoffs because guys like him they can really make or break a series. Emmanuel quickly 24 points, 4 assists, 3 steals in 32 minutes off the bench. I was saying to Jeff and Tyrese before we got live, I was like, I think they just brought Jalen Brunson back to there's all this blabber about Emmanuel quickly having too many starting games and he's too good as a starter. So, the Knicks were like, you know what, let's just bring Jalen Brunson back so they can shut up and he can perform off the bench. Even though he's performed off the bench a million times and played well a million times. But yeah, how do we feel about this game? Starting with Quentin Grimes and quickly, I'll start with you, Jeff.
I honestly I could talk for the entire show about Emmanuel Quickly's night.
Agreed.
Just that may have been, considering the opponent, considering the circumstances, considering everything that was happening around him and around the team in this game, that may have been my favorite game he ever played. Because I mean, and I know this made Schwinn happy because I've heard Schwinn rant about it. There's there's a lot of frustration when like Quickly is running the show and we're getting better looks and like clearly like there's more, it's a more egalitarian offense, and like especially when other teams go zone, Quickly is the guy who should have the ball in his hands. And to end both halves, Tibbs put the ball in his hands. It wasn't just the end of the game. It wasn't just when Brunson wasn't on the court. The end of that first half, that was Quickly's show, and he created a good look almost every time. His offense was great. I mean, if you want to nitpick, maybe he leaned a little bit too much to his shot, but he made a couple of amazing passes. And like, not just passes for the assists. He had 5+ hockey assists that were like tic-tac-toe, like I'm going to find Hardenstein who finds Josh Hart cutting. He was just absolutely dissecting a top 5 offense on offense, or a top 5 defense on offense. And honestly, I don't think offense was the best side of the court for him tonight. His defense for the first 3 quarters, Julius Randle, look, we're going to talk, like, please get better, Julius. We need you. His defense was atrocious before he got hurt. And there were 3 Cody Martin possessions that absolutely stood out in the first quarter. And for the first one, Randle just absolutely ignored Cody Martin, let up a wide open corner 3. And the next 2, Emmanuel quickly anticipated Julius Randle ignoring Cody Martin and somehow was in multiple places at once because he fixed Randle's mistake and then recovered, and the Heat didn't get a basket either time. His defense, he was absolutely everywhere tonight. I just go and watch that game and focus on Quigley's defense. It was one of the best defensive performances you'll see from him. Just what a game, what a player. And like, I get that opposing fan bases aren't going to get it. I get that, you don't get to watch every game. And this is another thing Schwinn talked about. I feel like I shout him out a lot, but like, he said on the pod, like, oh, imagine if like Tyler Hero put up X stats and like all we saw were the stats. Like, would Knicks fans be giving him the benefit of the doubt? We don't get to watch every team. So I'm not going to fault other fan bases for not fully appreciating Emmanuel Quickley. But if you're a fucking Knicks fan and you're watching this every night and you're watching this 23-year-old develop before our eyes, stop turning it into a narrative fest. Stop like comparing him to other players. Just appreciate this guy. We got him with the 25th pick in the draft, and he's already this good. This was an absolute masterclass. One of my favorite games by him. Just, I could speak on it forever, but I'm going to turn it over to the other guys. Just wonderful.
At the very least, don't compare it to Alonzo fucking Trier. Have some goddamn shit about yourself. God, fuck. Sorry.
Yeah, Alonzo Trier. He played basketball for the Knicks once. Yeah, I think Quickly was. You know, the funny thing is, like, what did he shoot? 5 of 10 from the free throw line tonight.
6 of 11.
6 of 11. Okay, so like he didn't have a perfect game, and nobody on the Knicks played it. This was a hideous game. They actually probably, like, if you just looked at the starting lineup box score, and then you look at the amount of turnovers they had, you would be like, they had no business winning this fucking game. And it was because Grimes kept them in it early in the game. And then IQ led the way, but IQ, Hart, and Hartenstein were fucking awesome in the second quarter. And like they brought us back into the game. And then you got to say at the start of the second half, it wasn't great that starting lineup, but I thought Obi played pretty well. I thought he connected pieces of the offense that I'll be quite honest. Like, I hope Julius is okay because we absolutely do need him against the Clevelands of the world and other teams. I really do not like him when we play Miami because unless he's on a heater, his slow decision-making can be really costly because of, like, just watch Obi in the third quarter. I'm not even saying he played some fucking amazing game, but like he just makes quick decisions on the perimeter so that when they trap and they have to recover, they are being made to pay. The ball gets to the open shooter in the corner. And then obviously the bench comes back in and like, yeah, I mean, I thought Quickly at the end of the third into the fourth quarter was just fucking awesome. And it was like, I don't know. I just thought he was tremendous. He had a pass to Hartenstein on the roll when he was dribbling to the corner, which was amazing.
Beautiful pass.
Then he had that play where he swung it up to Hartenstein at the top of the key, and Hartenstein hit Hart on the back cut. I mean, there were just so many plays. He had one that dime. Was it him that passed to RJ in the corner? Or no, he kicked it to Grimes at the top of the key, and then Grimes swung it to RJ in the corner. Like there was just so much good playmaking from him, and I don't think it's a coincidence. I mentioned this on one of our rundowns before, but like, I don't think it's a coincidence that since Hart has joined the Knicks, their assist rate has picked up, especially with that bench group. And even if Quickly doesn't have an individual high assist game, him with those two guys, you're just seeing such better ball movement. And a game like this against a team like this that plays the defense, that covers screens, that defends screens the way Miami does, you absolutely need those guys. You need those guys. You need their skill sets. And they were fucking awesome tonight. All three of those guys were great. Quickly was tremendous. And Quentin Grimes was just a fucking monster today. I don't know what he did. He must have eaten his Wheaties this morning because that man was fucking flying around the entire game. His defensive effort was tremendous. I could not say enough positive things about Quentin Grimes. And I think the best thing you saw today was when they tried hiding for one period of time, they tried hiding Duncan Robinson on him. And he actually took Duncan Robinson off the bounce a couple of times. And once that happened, he drew a foul, right? He got to the free throw line. And Spoelstra he subbed out Duncan Robinson at that point in the game immediately. Like that's, remember when we were like, oh my God, Reggie Bullock can't do anything off the dribble? That's what the fuck we were talking about. Like Grimes has to be able, and he has to be willing, and the team has to find him, but he has to be able and be willing when he gets the weakest defender on the other team to attack them. And he did that tonight. He was fucking great in the fourth quarter. His some of his rebounds in the fourth quarter were amazing. He hit big threes. He was just so good. And again, like, I don't care how you want to rank them. You want to say Grimes played better. You want to say Quickly played better. I personally think Quickly did, but it doesn't really matter to me. They were both tremendous. And then Hart and Hartenstein were great. And like, again, like, I don't really know what the hell Jalen Brunson was doing tonight. He looked really out of sorts. And this is the second game in a row where I just have not loved his process while we're playing Miami. But like, he's a really good ISO player. He doesn't handle traps well when teams trap on screen and rolls. I would have loved to just see him not call for screens and just go at Gabe Vincent. Like, I would have been fine with that. Either way, it doesn't matter. Knicks get the win. And I got to say, RJ Barrett, horrible first, I don't know, half, two and a half quarters, whatever it is. But he stepped up when the Knicks absolutely needed him. And I'll say this, actually, I would say horrible offensively. I thought his defense all night was really good. I thought he was locked in defensively. I thought he competed. He had a really good possession early in the game on Butler. I think he might have even blocked him. He played a really good game. He didn't do his stupid, like, I'm going to fall asleep on the glass type of thing. He actually came up with a huge contested rebound on Bam. And like, he had
a huge box out too. A huge box out where he didn't get the rebound down the stretch that let Josh Hart get the rebound.
Yeah.
Sorry to interrupt.
No, he was awesome. And I just wanted to say that because obviously I've given him a lot of shit recently.
The whole fan base has.
But apparently I hate him or something. But like,
apparently we all hate him because
I do want to say about RJ, when you see him get Duncan Robinson on an island and he can't get past him,
it's concerning.
At this point, I think his process and his attitude are the two things we need to be focusing on the most, because he honestly, like, he's just physically limited. He just is right now, and he needs to lose weight. That's like very, very obvious. He's plotting. It's like he has cinder blocks in his shoes. Well, when they zoom in on him, like running back on defense, and they zoom in on him, they show his face, and it looks like he's trying so hard to run back. And I'm like, you're fucking 22 years old. Like, please don't look like me.
Why are you laboring?
Yeah, don't look like I do after I have a couple beers and decide to play one more game of basketball. Like, don't do that. That's not how you want to. That's not how you want to look as an NBA player. But like, again, I just want to say, I thought I think it speaks volumes. You said Tibbs trusted IQ. That's part of it. Brunson deferred to him in the third quarter when he was still on the floor with him. RJ deferred to him the entire fourth quarter. That's not something that RJ has necessarily always done. It says a lot about, one, how well he's playing and how much his teammates trust him. But like, that, to me, that version of RJ that played the fourth quarter, yeah, it's nice, obviously, that he knocked down the threes. It kind of helps you see the whole vision there. But like, that guy, that fourth quarter guy, that end of the third, like second half of the third quarter into the fourth quarter, that guy that plays like that is willing to make quick decisions off the ball, that isn't, obsessed with getting the ball and trying to create, like, that guy, he's worth that contract, and he can help you win a lot of ball games. But like, he's got to decide, and I mean, he's got to just really come to a realization, at least for this year, like, that's who you need to be right now, because the 25 point per game, fucking shot creator dude, like, that's not happening this year. I don't think it's going to happen unless he loses weight. So that's an off-season thing for him. But he can still help you win ball games if he just accepts that role for right now. It's basically like, just be Quentin Grimes. Do that. Be another Quentin Grimes. But I thought he was really solid. And also, nice. Like, I want to just, last thing, like, one of my biggest fears every time we've played Miami, just for the last 3 years, right, is like, I just feel like Spoelstra is he's so much better at adjusting in game and throwing pivots and all this type of shit than Tibbs is. And I got to say, I think Tibbs called a hell of a game today. Like, I mean, and maybe some of that, I will say, maybe some of that is he's forced to because Randall's out, so he couldn't close them, so he kind of had to go to this small lineup or whatever. But like he didn't bring Brunson. He was going to bring Brunson back in. Brunson was supposed to come in for Grimes.
Mhm.
And I know he was supposed to come in for Grimes because Grimes shot free throws, and while Brunson was waiting at the scorer's table, and he didn't check in. And then like the Knicks got a steal in the next possession down. They scored again, and Spoelstra called the timeout, and he didn't. And after out of the timeout, obviously he left the same lineup in. He deserves credit for that. Like that was a ballsy call. It was a big call. I wanted him to leave that lineup in. I was talking about it in our Discord during the game. And I was like, I understand why you bring Brunson in there. I would have understood it. I wouldn't have killed him for it. But like, I just thought that lineup had clearly figured it out, and Miami had no answers. And I thought they took Miami's will from them in that fourth quarter. I've never seen a Miami team in like, I mean, it's a 9-point game. They've had some crazy comebacks.
They just basically gave up.
They gave up, and I have not seen them do that. I haven't seen them do that against the fucking Knicks in a long time. That was an impressive performance by those. You know, we talked about the players. Tibbs deserves a lot of credit. I thought he called a really good game. I didn't think there was any point in the game where I was watching it and it felt like this is a tactical mismatch that Tibbs has not figured out. When we were struggling, I thought it was mostly individual player errors that had nothing to do with how Tibbs was deploying them. It was just he called a really good game, and he deserves credit for that. And obviously, you know, Emmanuel quickly, amazing. Grimes, amazing. Hartenstein, really solid. RJ, really, it was huge that he turned up, honestly, down the stretch. I don't mean that facetiously, because the Knicks didn't get a lot from a lot of guys tonight. I mean, I thought Mitchell Robinson tonight was embarrassing. I thought he was pathetic tonight. His third quarter, he looked like he was about to fucking keel over 4 minutes in. I don't know what the hell was going on with him. That was embarrassing. There was one play where Jimmy Butler brought it up in transition, and Mitch just didn't bother to get back. He just was walking back, and Jimmy got a layup out of it. We talked about Randall. He struggled the entire night. Brunson was, I don't really know what was going on with him. He just looked like he was totally out of sorts. But that bench group and RJ, they brought us home, and that was a hell, and Grimes too, obviously. But that was a hell of a performance. The only thing I might say was like maybe you could have put Deuce into the rotation once Randall was out, but like that's small potatoes, to be honest. Like he played the right guys, and he deserves as much credit for the win as any of the players did.
Tyrese,
I just want to say, Schwinn, that you finished my RJ thought, and I don't want anybody watching thinking that I was going into like a criticism of him. I just don't criticize him. No, I agree. It's okay to criticize him. It's just when all I said was like basically he's out of shape, and where I was getting to is that I'm more concerned with the process right now, because if he's there in between the ears and he's seeing the game, not just how I think, but like just how Tibbs wants him to play, and he's accepting that role. When he comes back next year, and in my opinion, he's going to be in much better physical shape, I'm going to have more confidence that he'll just be a better basketball player from an output perspective. So that's how I'm choosing to watch him. I'm not saying everybody else has to, but that's how I'm choosing to watch him currently. And I agree with everything else, Schwinn. Sorry to interrupt you, Sam.
Tyrese, thoughts on the game?
First of all, do I win the shirt?
No, you're not going to win the shirt.
I don't think anyone won the shirt. Maybe some people were close, but
I think I might have won the shirt. Anyway, I thought Emmanuel quickly had a great game. As everybody said beforehand, he is the sixth man of the year. He did it off the bench this game. Stop crying. Ice Spice has done more for New York basketball than Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving.
That is a fact.
Yeah. All I'm saying is Ice Spice will be contributing to a New York Knicks winning a major award. Kevin Durant has not won shit here. Kyrie Irving has not won shit here. Those are the facts. Take them as you may. Quentin Grimes with 25 usage, once again proving me and Prez's agenda correct. I thought Josh Hart played a really good game. I wish he didn't turn it over as much. He had some really bad turnovers in that first half, where it was just like off of his hands, and I was really confused as to why he was making some of the passes he was making. But ultimately speaking, he does what he does and he stuffs the stat sheet. 13, 8, 3, 2 steals, good defense all around, 6 and 7 from the field. I think he's at like 75, 76 true shooting as a Knick, which is nuts. It's completely unsustainable. But I'm also kind of like, he plays so within himself and he's such a good finisher and like he hits enough threes to where like he can probably end up around like 37, 38% of low volume. Then I'm like, how unsustainable is it? Like, is 60, 60 true shooting is obviously in like the realm of possibility, but like mid 60s, you could probably talk me into it. We'll see about that. Now for the piece data resistance.
All right, hold on. I gotta ask you guys a question.
Okay.
Is T Ward a good outfielder for the Angels for fantasy purposes?
Tyler Ward?
Yeah.
No.
Okay. How about Nick Castellanos?
Fuck no.
It's deep. This is deep. We're late in the draft here. Okay, I know nothing about baseball. I just did this for the fuck of it.
I'm now just so curious. Why are you in a fantasy baseball league where Taylor Ward and Nick By the way, Ward OPS'd 833 last year and hit 23 homers. So go with Ward.
Okay. All right.
That
Sounds
did
good.
not fucking happen. That's a goddamn myth. Okay, cool. Tyler Ward is out here raking shit.
I mean, look, I had 20 seconds to give advice. That's the best I could do. I don't know shit about baseball. I know stuff about baseball stats, but I mean, so.
Oh my god! All right,
I definitely couldn't tell you who's better for fantasy. By the way, to Schwinn's point, to bring it back to the Knicks, there were, and to Tyrese's point, apologies to you, Tyrese.
You're good.
There were 3 Knicks tonight, 3 Knicks who had 4 assists and led the team. One was Emmanuel Quickley, obviously. One was Quentin Grimes, whose handle, by the way, is that in and out dribble he pulled on Gabe Vincent, I think, in the first quarter to set up whatever he said. He had an in-and-out dribble to like set up Hartenstein or Mitch, or maybe Mitch. I don't know. It was awesome. And then the third Knick with 4 assists was Obi Toppin in just 17 minutes, making those swing passes that, for the life of me, I've been on here a million times ranting that Julius Randle doesn't make. And Obi Toppin, the first time the ball hits his hands and Quentin Grimes is open in the corner, it's barely in his hands. It touches his hands for 2 seconds and he swings the ball to the corner. So look, I mean, Obi's way worse at basketball at a lot of things than Julius Randle, but from a pure connector standpoint, when Jalen Brunson's running the show, and if RJ Barrett can get it going as a second option, that one thing, Obi Toppin is going to be a positive. Like, I'm not saying, I don't mean this as Julius Randle slander. I'm just saying that if Jalen Brunson can be Jalen Brunson and RJ Barrett can help as a second option and just be a second option, Obi Toppin will contribute to that starting lineup. And I think that's the point Schwinn was speaking.
I agree.
All right, let's talk about an elephant.
I didn't even finish it.
Oh, keep going, Tyrese.
That's so racist, then.
Facts.
Wait, what? What?
And you have to do where I go. What is this, affirmative action? What are we doing,
Oh my
man?
god.
We are not.
I'm going to bed right after this. Can I not prepare myself?
This is a family podcast, and you're going to be dressed as such, bro.
Oh, I'm sure this is a family podcast. The shit that we talk about here.
All right, I'm just gonna name out a bunch of names, and you tell me how crazy I get. Joe Harris, Bojan Bogdanovic.
Terry's is naming
Spencer
RJ Barrett
Dinwiddie,
trade partners.
Lonzo Ball, Eric Gordon, Terry Rozier, Mike Conley.
What are we doing?
He's naming RJ Barrett trade partners.
Jordan Poole, Chris Paul, the corpse of Chris Paul, Gordon Hayward. Just something gonna start sounding crazy. Anyway, back to my point. That fucking first half made me questioning why we live in a capitalist society, because RJ Barrett was the biggest argument for wealth equality in the United States and in the free world as we know it. Like, I was straight up reading the Communist Manifesto after watching that first half, because I was like, there's no way he should get paid $107 million and people are homeless. But that second half, I was like, all right, he deserved a little bag for the night, so I can let him live. But I thought the defense was good. I thought the rebounding was especially good, even though they didn't really pop in the box score. That one rebound on Bam that he had in the third quarter was his best rebound of his career. Like
Career. Whoa.
he's it's that bad.
I did not expect him to get that rebound. Like when he went up for it, I was like, oh, I'm gonna be annoyed at RJ Barrett here, and then I was like, wait, did this dude just did this? I was like, okay, all right, cool, we're good.
Yeah, like that was unexpected, but it was a welcome surprise. I will take it. Yeah, it was really bad. John Collins to protect the second might not be enough anymore, man. I don't know. Mike Conley's looking really, really good. Mike Conley off the bench would cook. But yeah, it's.
Where's the no? Hold on. Where's the synergy for Randall tonight?
He fucking sucked.
This last like couple of fucking weeks where he's just been like plodding around out there, like careening from crazy.
There goes the elephant that I was gonna address.
Like I'm not. Look, it sucks that he got hurt, and it especially sucks because we're.
And I agree, he fucking sucked. He sucked the last couple of weeks. I'll give you that.
But mum's the word for you for the last couple of weeks for Julius Randle. Mum's the word, but for RJ Barrett, you got a fucking list of these shitty ass contracts that you want to fucking trade him for. Like, I'm sorry. Say what you want about
Sunset Lonzo Ball.
Yeah, say whatever you want. Say what you want about RJ Barrett. But that guy tonight, like, he got it together in a game,
and
that
he gave a shit.
Have it together. He gave a shit, and he did not. He played within himself throughout the game. Even when he was missing shots in the first half, he wasn't forcing up a bunch of bullshit, or he wasn't like hijacking possessions. Randall was like, what I saw from Randall tonight, forget the missing shots and whatever. It was very concerning to me. That was a very concerning performance for me today, because we know the stakes of the game were high. We know that there was pressure on this team coming into the game. Obviously, like, they talked about on the broadcast, it was the biggest game of the year, biggest game they played in a long time, whatever. Like, for that to be how he turned up in this game is concerning to me. And it's a lot more concerning to me than whatever the fuck is going on with RJ Barrett, which is mostly to me just that RJ Barrett's not in particularly great shape.
Can't
but like
shoot either, but
yeah,
that's
I think that's
shape.
I think that's 100% tied to it. I think that's like
but yeah, that goes. But Shwin, you're kind of like bringing up my elephant that I wanted to bring up, which is, what Julius Randle are we getting in the playoffs? Are we getting the pumpkin version again, or are we getting a more stable 20 plus point per game scorer that is not going to shit himself? Because lately he's been losing his cool at the refs, his teammates. He's shown little effort on defense, zero effort on defense, I will say. Offensively, he's up and down a lot more often lately. So it's like, what Julius Randle are we gonna get in the playoffs? Because as we're winding down the season, you're trying to gain momentum going into the playoffs, not like look like this. So,
I want to say one. There's two things I need to mention here. One, completely unrelated to this. Since we slander him randomly on this pod, Drew Holiday had 51 points tonight.
Yeah, I was going to say
team of the year.
That's why I said like tonight, like that's why I said the NBA was like insanely drunk tonight.
Yeah, Drew had 51, 8 and 8, and Giannis had 38, 17 and 12. So I did that
again.
And I want to bring this up because whatever, it doesn't really matter. Someone on our Discord posted this. They were at the game tonight. They were sitting next to the Miami Heat shooting coach, and this was what he said. Knicks won't be considered a serious playoff team in the league until Randall decides to play defense. Fans don't realize he isn't playing drop. He just isn't playing defense. I don't entirely agree with that, because I think we've seen Randall play really good defense for stretches this year. I think we talked about it plenty when he was, that stretch when Mitch was out and Sims was starting. I thought Randall played great defense, but since Mitch has come back, his defense has gone from like, okay, I kind of get you can take it a little bit easier, to whatever the fuck the last few games have been, where he's just back to like last year levels of defense. But forget, like, the injury is maybe maybe it's a blessing in disguise. Maybe he's gassed. It'll help him fucking rest up or whatever the hell it is. But what I saw tonight was really concerning to me from an effort perspective, from an execution perspective, from a decision-making perspective. He just looked totally out of sorts tonight. And I felt bad at the time. Like I feel bad now. Obviously, you don't want to see him get hurt. But my feeling when he got hurt was I actually don't think this hurts the Knicks too much tonight.
I
And
mean, you saw defensively,
it was better.
like
It was immediately better.
Miles better.
And offensively, they just stopped turning the ball over a fuck ton. And that's not all Julius, obviously, right? Like it's like there were plenty of other turnovers there. But like I really there is a connection between like look at how disjointed the offense was when Randall was on the floor tonight.
Because like they like to force feed him sometimes,
Yeah,
and
and
that like breaks up the flow.
It's force feeding him. He's an ISO guy. It's part of it. But like, and Brunson struggled with that a bunch today too. And then just watch how they played that second half. They didn't even fucking shoot that well. They didn't do like they could have done other things. They could have definitely. They left God knows how many points at the fucking free throw line. Like there was a lot of shit they fucked up.
Ball
But
was
like
moving, though.
they got good shots against Miami's defense throughout that second half, especially once Quickly and Hartenstein came back in, and both their stretches in the first and the second half. That group, they were getting quality shots consistently. And this is why the last time we played Miami and IQ had a bad shooting game and Tyrese was like, how could you say he played well? He played poorly. He shot like terrible from the field. And I was like, watch the shots they were getting as a team. Like
amazing Tyrese impersonation, by the way.
That actually sounds nothing like Tyrese, which is insane. But like,
thank you, I appreciate that. I think you to me.
But like, they were getting really good shots when he was on the floor and he was running the offense. And all that happened today, and the reason people are noticing it more today is because one, he played longer, and he played longer because he made more shots because Tibbs trusted him to be in the game. And I said this at that time, yes, like I was like, I didn't think Brunson played a very good offensive game, even though the box score looked good, because I thought he forced up a lot of bullshit. And that's what happened tonight, except he was missing shots. And I just didn't think the Knicks played a good offensive game with Julius or Brunson last game. They made more shots. And today they missed more shots. And all of a sudden it's like, oh, they played bad. Like, I didn't think they played well against Miami the first time, like that game either. And to be quite honest, the game when Julius hits that crazy 3, right, to win the game, that's another game where it's like he played well because he was on fire. But his decision-making in that game was questionable, especially down the stretch. He had a turnover, right? That I think, what was it, Hero that took it all the way for a layup? And then he nearly turned over before he hit that crazy 3. So it's like there are just times, and especially against Miami, where I really think like if Tibbs could just bring himself to genuinely like play the best 5 to close games at least, I don't think Randall would be on the floor on a lot of those against Miami. I want to be very specific. Like when I'm talking about a team like Miami, a team that traps, a team that blitzes, that's a bad matchup for him. Like he doesn't handle that well, and Brunson doesn't handle that well. But what Brunson does do well is this: he let Emmanuel quickly cook tonight, and when Quick cooked and Brunson was on the floor with him, they were fine. They were perfect. They were fucking wonderful. I mean, Brunson at that corner 3 possession to end the first half was like
great pass by Josh Hart.
That was a hockey assist. That was one of the hockey assists.
Yeah, that was an orgasmic possession. That was like a perfect. I don't know if you guys remember that Spurs possession they had like that year they won the championship in 2014. They had a possession against the Thunder.
Against the Thunder in overtime of Game 6.
It's like 4 passes. There's no hesitation. That possession was like you watch it. Just go back and watch it. Quickly and Hart, they were totally on the same page. They knew exactly how Miami was going to cover the screen and roll. They knew where the soft spot was, and Quickly knew he had to get it at Hart, and Hart knew exactly. He knew where he was going with the ball. I think he might have jumped, like he caught that in the air, I think. He might have thrown that before he even landed. I mean, it was such a great play, but that's the shit you want to see. And again, like I just think I feel like Brunson has shown an ability and a willingness, I think, to more readily let Quickly handle the rock. And I think he has a better off-ball skill set. He has a very natural off-ball skill set, right?
Well, he played with Luka.
It happens. He had
no choice.
When you get to touch the ball 3 times a game playing next to Luka, you kind of have to figure it out. But like Randall is shooting better this year, obviously. I just don't. He's not a quick decision maker. So like when he's playing off ball, there are times where he wastes an advantage, or he doesn't hit the open man, or he, how many times have we seen him pump fake and then take a more difficult
Jab,
shot?
stab.
Right? Yeah.
When
So
he has an
like
open three, oh
right.
my gosh.
So it's just it was an interesting game to me, in the sense of like, again, like you can like the vision of what I just think this team. I guess this is the best way to put it. We'll see what happens in the playoffs, but there's still a part of me that's like, I just don't fully trust Julius until I see it in the playoffs. And when you see a game,
I'm right there with you, man.
Yeah, and when you see a game like tonight, and it needs to be said, the way that Miami defends screen and roll lends itself to allowing the personnel that we had available really kind of play to their strengths in that way. But when you see that, it does make me still wonder, like, is there a different version of this team without Julius that has more ball movement, that has more player movement, that maybe has a higher ceiling, which is crazy to say because of how good Julius has been this year. Like, I don't mean this to even take away from his season. It's just something that's always in the back of my head. Like, is that something that changes the dynamic of the team, but maybe that is actually the best version of it? I don't know. It's just an interesting thing that you can only see on a night like tonight, because Julius got hurt. I want to be clear, though, again, I do hope Julius is back, because I don't think we are beating a team like Cleveland in the playoffs without Julius, obviously, at all. Like, we definitely need him for that specific matchup, if nothing else. And obviously, we need him in general just because he's been so good this year.
By the way, Schwinn, Stacy asked for it on y'all's pod. He asked for some flashy quickly passes, and that jump pass. First of all, the jump pass he made to Hartenstein, but also a more normal flashy pass that I think isn't more in the spirit of what Stacy was asking for. Him reading in the pick and roll, him finding Grimes on the unoccupied in the corner where he made that jump pass and manipulated the defender in the air and passed Grimes open. I think that's pretty much exactly what Stacy was talking about on y'all's pod.
Yeah, that was an amazing play. Yeah.
All right. Let's get into the ad read before we get into comments. All right. NBA fans, it's time to bring the hoops action to the palm of your hand with DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NBA. This week, new customers can bet $5 and win $200 in bonus bets instantly. Plus, for a limited time, all new and existing customers can get a no-sweat same-game parlay every day. Go to the DraftKings Sportsbook app today, opt in, and place a same-game parlay on any NBA game, and if it doesn't hit, you'll get a bonus bet back. Download the app now and sign up with code TBPN. New customers can bet $5 on the NBA and get $200 in bonus bets instantly. Only at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NBA, with code TBPN. Minimum age and eligibility restrictions apply. See show notes or show description for details. Shout out to Clyde. It was his birthday today, and the Knicks actually got a win and did not embarrass him. So there's that.
Dude, can I just say, Ed Cohen tonight, in the first half, that guy had no fucking idea what was going on. Like, Mitch threw the ball out of bounds, and he was like, "Oh, looks like it's Nick's ball." And I'm like, "What?" And then there was one where he was like, he kept going on like, "Oh, quickly going to the line." I'm like, they're standing on the fucking baseline, like clearly telling the Knicks to inbound the ball. Like he had like 3 or 4 plays where I'm just like, "Are you on crack? Like, is that?" He
had a couple, shots of vodka before the game tonight.
It might have been more than a few, and his voice was cracking a bit. I mean, I actually like him, but that first half, he was just like, I was like, "Are you?"
I think he was just like really nervous. It was Clyde's birthday.
Are you more clueless than Clyde is right now? Like, it's pretty wild. That I just needed to say that because I was like, that Mitch one. I was like, "What the fuck are you talking about?" Mitch literally dove on the ground and then freaked out and just threw it out of bounds. I'm like. He's like, "Oh, it looks like it's Nick's ball." I'm like, "What? No, it's not, dude."
I'm surprised Clyde was composed for this broadcast because it was his birthday and I expected him to come on broadcast with like half a bottle of yak and just start talking about the old days.
We all love Clyde. Dude, down the stretch, he kept criticizing the Knicks offense, and I had no idea what he was talking about.
He kept
Because
saying
the
they need
Knicks
to
were
run more
literally-
clock, and I was like, they did? Like, I was like, they
Yeah,
are?
They
he
were
used-
trying to.
And they got good looks every possession. It was literally the two things he always talks about. He's like, okay, they need to be more patient. They need to, and like, I guess he wanted them to pass the ball more, but quickly
He kept criticizing IQ. He was like, IQ needs to, he needs to stop meandering with the ball or whatever he said.
Bouncing the ball on the perimeter.
Well, he was just like,
Yeah.
he's dribbling the ball. He needs to move it. I'm
Pass
like,
it.
what the fuck are you talking about right now? Like, he's not going to pass the ball with 15 seconds left and there's like 140 left in the game. He's going to fucking milk it and then they'll run something with like 7 or 8 seconds left. Actually, I will say this though. There was one, and you could watch it again. I don't know if the Knicks scored on the possession. There was one play where Quickly definitely did not get the ball across with 8 seconds left. It was like,
he did.
yeah, it was very obvious. And Spoelstra was fucking losing his mind. He was going
Good.
bananas. He was going absolutely fucking crazy on Tony Brothers. I think the Knicks might have actually gotten a 3 on that possession. I don't know. It was just like, but I remember that possession. And I was like, but in general, I've seen this now so much. Like, I don't mind. That's the one time, right? Like, I'm like, yeah, cool. Milk the clock. That's totally cool. Him and Brunson, like, can you just get the fucking ball over the line? Like, you don't need to walk it up. Like, you can just dribble it up and then hang out at the top of the key for a little bit. But like, they love to toe the line. Like, Brunson had a possession like that in that Orlando game that we came back and won down there. He had a possession like that late in the game where he like clearly did not get the ball over the line. And it's just like it was really funny though, because Quickly definitely didn't get it across the line, and you can just see Spoelstra. He was going ballistic. He was so mad, and I loved it because Spoelstra, when he's yelling and screaming, he looks so self-righteous, and I just was like, "You're such a fucking."
He just starts looking. He's just like,
yeah. He like when he gets angry, it almost looks like he's got this smile on his face, but
Yeah.
it looks fucking satanic.
Well, he's
so-
a psychopath. So
Yeah, it's crazy. Also, Pat Riley can
eat shit and die.
yeah, he can just fucking stop sucking blood like a vampire and go away. Like, just go fucking away, dude. That guy needs to give it up. Like, you're like, I bet he doesn't even know that he's still the GM of the fucking Heat.
Yeah, he probably just like, why do I get a check every month? This is weird.
all right.
I mean, that he must. I mean, there's no way he has any idea what he's doing. The guy fucking gave Duncan Robinson what 5 years, $90 million or whatever the fuck it was.
He had like
He was
8
lining us up
undrafted
tonight,
players
by the way.
in his rotation, dude, and in the course of Victor Oladipo. Like, what are we doing here?
Yeah, but let's respect my guy Gabe Vincent. Good player.
Fuck you, Vincent.
Jonas
Dude,
Ben
he was
Khalifa
awesome.
asked.
He was cooking Brunson, and like
That's the second
Again.
straight game where he's
Yep.
doing that.
Brunson. I'll say this: Brunson was bad, and like I agree with what Schwinn said about like on offense. Sometimes like he's sort of his balance was really really good there for a long time, but he's sort of like it seems like he's off balance in terms of like creating for others and creating for himself. His defense is a legitimate problem, and I still feel like we're almost like afraid to talk about it as a fan base because he's like the shiny new toy. And so you have to be excited about it. And like, we all should be excited about it. He's a really good basketball player that's clearly on a plus contract, but they're hunting him in ways that teams haven't hunted him, and they're going to keep doing it. And it's a legitimate problem. It just is. And that's one of my biggest concerns, honestly, about the team.
Yep, it's definitely an issue. I still do think he's like trying to like play his way back conditioning wise. I just hate the fact that it happened so late in the season, and now like you have to basically spend that time playing yourself back in. I don't like injuries late in the season, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I mean, it just sucks because Quickly's not a point guard, so we're really fucked without Brunson.
He's just a good fourth guard on a playoff team.
Yeah, I like him in his role.
Don't we all? Don't we all?
Jonas Ben Khalifa asked, was tonight the best Thibs coaching performance this season, considering the stakes / circumstances?
No.
What would you say is his best then?
The game we won against Boston in Boston without Mitch.
What game?
Yeah.
The TNT game where RJ hit the 3 in the corner.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I thought that was a really, really well.
Oh yeah.
They came out. I think they were up like 23-7 early in that game.
Yeah.
And the Knicks adjusted really well actually to their whole fucking we spam threes offense, which destroyed us in the first game, and it looked like it was about to destroy us again. And then Tibbs was like, "Not today." Well, not just Tibbs, obviously, but like I mean, since then we've just owned the Celtics. We can't stop winning. We're just winning so big.
We're gonna keep winning, and when you're tired of winning, I'm gonna say no. It's not enough winning. We need to keep on winning.
Can you see the wall from your house, Tyrese?
I can. It's majestic. It's huge.
Someone said it's majestic. Oh man. All right.
So much winning.
Let me see what else we got here. Vivek. He says Tibbs benching Brunson for the entire fourth quarter was gutsy. He wouldn't normally do that. Huge credit to him tonight for adjusting. Do we think that he did it to provide Brunson with some extra type of rest as well?
No.
Like
No.
Okay.
No.
Tibbs doesn't give a shit about resting guys.
I swear to God, I'm pretty sure I would be surprised if Brunson just like saw quickly and Grimes and just like walked back to the bench himself. And Tibbs was like, "Where are you going? I'm putting you in the game." And then
Fair.
Dude, Tibbs, there was one possession. Tibbs was hilarious, by the way, at the end of the game. On every single Miami offensive possession, he was begging for like 6 different offensive fouls. But there was one play, and I couldn't believe they didn't call it because it was so blatant. The one Gabe Vincent hit a corner 3, right? And if you watch that play back, like I don't remember if it was Butler or if it was Bam, somebody is just like holding Quickly because Quickly was like trying to fight over the screen. He's like 15 feet away from Vincent when he even catches the ball.
I think it was Oladipo.
Was it? Okay, I don't remember who it was.
It was Oladipo. I remember that play, and I'm like, he just tripped him. He just tripped him. Can you please call it?
Tibbs was going, like he lost his fucking shit. Like it's been a while since I saw him that just like, I was like, yeah, he really might have burned like a quarter of a pound in that game. Like he was on it today.
If he burnt the pound, he would have started jumping.
Yeah, he was, dude. He really wanted that game.
I want to watch the fourth quarterback just to watch the coaches because that is a prime coach. You'll get some reaction photos out of that one. That was peak Tom Thibodeau.
Yeah. Also, Idris played horribly today. And so did
I love that.
Oh, let me talk about this fraud. Okay.
Wait, who did?
Bam.
Idris.
Bam. Idris. His name is Idris.
He's Idris because all it does is Bam on the fucking court. He just, yeah, I was supposed to be an all-star this year.
I'm the defensive player of the year.
I should have been defensive player of the year. And you need to defend these nuts, okay? Because you are a sad waste of space for a max contract player. Like, are you kidding me? 4 of 10. You shot 4 of 10. Isaiah Hartenstein's on you, bro. Isaiah Hartenstein looks like he should be a fucking elf. Like, what are we doing here?
Dude, Hartenstein, this is the second game in a row, I thought, like, or second or third, whatever. It's probably been the last, honestly, every game this season we played Miami. Hartenstein is like, he might be the Bam stopper. Like, he does.
He took Lamonte's soul.
He like, even that, because the first game we beat them at the Garden, I know Bam went off in that game, but if you watch the shots he was making in the fourth quarter, I mean, Hartenstein's like, he's right there with him the entire way. He just made a bunch of tough shots. Like, Hartenstein, he looks really fucking quick right now. There were a couple of possessions where he got switched out onto Hero. Hero thought it was going to be real easy, and then he was like, "Wait, why are you still right here with me? Like, you're not, like, what's happening?" Hartenstein played really, really fucking well.
My son caught a lob. I never knew he could even catch lobs.
And it was nice, but it was nice that he still managed to do one extremely, extremely dumb thing and miss that layup in the fourth quarter somehow.
Oh my god, it was such a good play by Grimes.
He has to balance it out. He can't like always straight good games.
I was watching my dad, and my dad was like, "What the fuck?" Like the figure roll. Oh my god, dude, you're 7 foot tall. Just dunk it.
It's because he went up with his left. He needed to go with his right there.
You dork.
Dork. Wow.
Yeah. Butler, I don't know what was Butler doing tonight? Like, he just, I don't know what the hell. Like, that was such a weird Butler game.
He rested the last
Yep.
game versus the Heat just to shit himself tonight. I mean, versus
And-
the Raptors just to
Well,
shit himself
nothing
tonight.
about I don't understand any. Can we talk about the show? Because none of this made any sense. We were talking about this in Discord today. But like,
Mhm.
so they played Lowry last night because
Mhm.
he can't play both nights of a back-to-back.
Yes.
But then he was questionable today because Gabe Vincent was maybe not going to play. So then they would have needed Lowry. So then he magically was going to be cleared to play on the second night of a back-to-back. And then they rested Butler against Toronto. And I'm like, I just don't understand that. Because I'm like, you're not in a position to punt a game this late in the season, given
And
where you are.
they basically that's what they did.
Yeah, and like
I was
they
so
basically just
stunned.
guaranteed like what the Knicks have to win one more game, right? And they're 100% out of they won't be the plan at the very least. Like,
Yeah.
what the like I don't really understand anything about why he managed these two games the way
Kyle
they
Lowry
did.
had to play Toronto.
Like, who cares? Like, I just don't
The
understand
corpse
it,
of Kyle Lowry.
I just don't. None of that. None of their decision making over these two games has made any sense. And they were fucking brutal against Toronto too. They were terrible in that game.
Pat Riley CTE acted up.
Yeah, Pat Riley needs. He's fuck him. Just fuck him and fuck Miami.
He needs to
Fuck
course
Jimmy
stairlift.
I gotta say, Schwinn, and this honestly tonight has nothing to do with it, and we don't even really need to talk about it. I was very surprised to hear you say on the last pod that you would prefer to trade for Butler than Jaylen Brown. I did not agree with that at all.
Yeah, Jaylen Brown is just he's like a fucking he's Kyrie with better PR is what he is.
He's Kyrie with a
Yeah,
full
I guess
beard
I'm
and
just
mustache
higher
finish.
on what the non-scoring aspects of his game would look like playing for Tibbs, which is a very weird thing to say.
I am not. I think Jaylen Brown is one of the most overrated players in the league, dude. Like, he is a great scorer outside of that, but like, so is Zach LaVine. Like,
he has
does
this weird game. Like, honestly, Jaylen Brown plays some of the weirdest games you'll ever see. Like, he'll have like 20 in the first quarter, and then you'll look at the box score at the end of the game, and he had like 29, and you're like, what the fuck just happened? Like, how did that happen? His passing is bad.
To be clear, before you continue on Jaylen Brown, Schwinn, I am very aware that Jimmy Butler is better right now. I'm not saying that Brown's better right now. I just, given the timeline of our team and other aspects, raising the ceiling and stuff like that, y'all were talking about winning a title.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think Jimmy Butler on this team next season, like literally, even if you just swapped him for like RJ plus salary filler plus draft picks or whatever, I don't think that team is like titling or contending.
It might not be, but I think you're in the conversation. Like Jimmy nearly willed whatever the fuck that Miami Heat team was last year to the finals. Like I just think he's one of the few guys I truly believe like actually does save it for the playoffs. Not even save it, but like he can hit a higher level in the playoffs.
I mean, he admitted himself that he doesn't start taking games seriously until later.
Yeah, I kind of think sometimes Jimmy says stuff to make Jimmy seem really cool.
Well, I mean, it does appear that way, though.
It does, but I think Jimmy just sometimes says stuff to like look at how cool and awesome I am, guys. I'm Jimmy Butler. Like, I do think that he can hit a higher level in the play. I mean, he's shown it. Like, there's no question about it. He can hit a higher level in the playoffs. Jaylen Brown is really good, but I still think this team needs somebody, and I know Butler had a terrible game tonight, so like he's obviously capable of having bad games too, as like just like anybody, other than Emmanuel Quickly apparently. But Jimmy, like I just think the Knicks still could use somebody who I trust at the end of games, and like Jaylen Brown is really talented. I do not trust that motherfucker at the end of a ball game. Like he is just such a fucking interesting.
Volatile.
I don't trust him in life.
Yeah, well, that's its own thing. His
you
article in
don't
the
trust
Ringer.
Brunson?
I do trust Brunson, but I still think you need another guy. Like, which is why the Randall thing is so weird, right? Because it's like that's what we're all talking about. Like, what's going to happen in the playoffs? And to be clear, like the end of game stuff with him this year still hasn't been good. Like he's been a lot better from minutes 1 to 42, right? But like those last 5-6 minutes of a game, he still has really rough moments. And you still see that at like the end of quarters, the end of halves, right? Like there's just issues with some of his decision making. That's where I think a guy like Butler, like, he would really elevate the team. And honestly, like, you talk about RJ. I mean, if you could just trade like Randall for him, and then you force Tibbs to have to play like a smaller group and stuff like that, like, that's kind of interesting to me. Because I think Butler, with the personnel we have, would be very, very fucking interesting.
My only pushback would be I've never seen Butler without like a big who could operate outside the paint. Like
That's what
Or just, like,
Isaiah Hartenstein,
spacing.
baby.
yeah, so like then you're just like, what do you do with Mitch? Is my
No,
question.
you saw Butler operate with some real terrorist spacing in Chicago. I promise you.
Yeah, but Chicago was 10 years ago, dude.
Yeah, but he was good.
And he was a better shooter in Chicago.
No, he just shot in Chicago. Now he just decided he's just not going to shoot ever. Just hilarious, kind of.
But yeah, he's
I
still
mean,
shooting.
he's gonna be 34 and he doesn't shoot threes. Like, I don't know. I would
think
be.
yeah.
I mean, Quentin Grimes is just a really good defender.
My whole thing is like, do you want Jimmy Butler for like, let's say 55, 60 games a year, like essentially playing into the spacing? I don't know if he makes it work is my question.
Yeah, maybe not. I mean, I just think Butler's really good, and he's one of those. I don't know. I just generally feel like he's a player that is a top 10 guy, but people rarely put him in that conversation. Like, I thought it was really weird last year when people were talking, like, everybody was talking about Tatum during that series, right? Oh, Tatum this, Tatum that. I'm like, Butler's better than him, and like, Miami has no business being in this series, and yet Butler is like willing them into these games, and he nearly won them the fucking series. But yeah,
he was
and I
incredible.
gotta say, Grimes has now shown this. Like, he matches up with Butler fucking great. Like, I don't know what it is, but when they're not just letting Jimmy foul grift to his way to like 17 free throws a game, Grimes is a problem for him, and Hart is a problem for him too. By the way, Hart was
They both have really strong bases.
yeah,
when
and
guarding him.
they get under him. They have like a pause.
Quads, baby, fucking quads.
But they have a lower center of gravity, right? So they kind of like, he can't really back them down. And I gotta say, I thought RJ did a good job on him when he got switched onto him a few times today too. So yeah, this was just such a fucking awesome game for them to win, in part because it was so ugly. Like, it didn't come easy. Their main guys didn't have good games, and they found a fucking way to win. That's all you like. Look, when we talked about this team has depth, the depth is what won them the game today. It was those other guys, right? It wasn't Brunson, it wasn't Randall, it wasn't RJ, at least doing the heavy lifting, right? It was Grimes, it was Quickly, it was Hart, it was Hartenstein. Those guys were fucking great today. All of them, really. Like, I just can't say enough about how well they played, the spirit they played with. They came into the game when honestly, that first like quarter when the starters were in was so fucking stupid and annoying. And they kind of turned it around. So yeah, those guys were awesome tonight.
Trent just wants to say the words that Kevin Garnett said. You know the words I'm talking about.
What words?
These young guys.
All right.
That's all Trent wants to say.
Well, Clyde Frazier brings up a great point here. I've noticed this, like, as the season has developed. IQ's been doing a better job with his dribbling. I know a huge thing in the beginning of the year, a lot of fans were so upset that he used to like just dribble. It looked like he was just dribbling around aimlessly times at times in possessions. But like now he's actually like, seems like he's dribbling more to like either get his own shot or he's like getting into the lane. He's getting guys open. Like, he's just doing a way better job of just like having a better feel of the game, which Clyde Frazier is kind of alluding to here with his comment where he says IQ dribbles out of trouble. He doesn't pass teammates into trouble. That's one of the most important qualities you can have in a guard. I think this is something that IQ, he needed to work on, heading into the season. And we've seen, I mean, obviously he's made so many strides in so many parts of his game. Jordan Bubb also brings up his last two games, 64 points on 32 field goal attempts, 13 assists versus 2 turnovers, plus 32 in 60 minutes, 2 wins.
What if we just start saying Manuel Quick is a star?
Right now, have you not seen my name under here?
Like, at this point,
he's a star.
Like, he has star level impact. He just doesn't have the gaudy counting staff. But like, it's 2023.
After he gets the 6th Man of the Year award, though, there's that spotlight right there.
Like,
Yeah, I mean, a playoff
the
game.
thing is, Quickly really struggles guarding dribble handoffs, and that will get exposed in the playoffs. And he doesn't hold his base well against bigger guards and wings, which is apparently a huge crisis.
Schwinn, have you considered his passes per point touch, please?
No, I think he's I've thought this since last year that he has star potential. I think Khan maybe needs to calm down a little bit, but I respect the energy.
Does he?
No, constant.
Yeah, I'm not sure about that, but he's definitely a star at this point. And like, that's why I think it's so funny, because I posted that hypothetical today. I was like, if you're the Knicks, and
people were laughing, saying,
drunk.
Well, there were a lot of Rockets fans that were like, of course they wouldn't do this. This is ridiculous. And I'm like, have you watched your team fucking play basketball? Like you
need a serious player like Emmanuel Quickly on your team.
You have like a drunken fucking sailor playing point guard for you. You have Jalen Green. Jalen Green, this guy was prancing around with the biggest smile on his face while his team was getting fucking dicked. They're down 30 fucking points. Like, what? Like, that team is so unserious. You want to know what would benefit you? Somebody who actually is good at basketball, somebody who can run point guard, somebody who plays defense, somebody who can hit threes, somebody who can fucking hit floaters, somebody who can do all of the things that your fucking team sucks ass at, regardless of how many top fucking 5 picks you have on it. Like, I just think, like, I get, if you just think, no, like, fine, that's fine. Like, oh, this is so stupid. Why would the Rockets ever do this? You're right. The Rockets probably would never do this.
By the way, are the Rockets ball players?
Yeah, are the Rockets good? No, the Rockets are fucking terrible, and they've been drafting for, like, what are they, top? They have the worst record in the league. They're gonna have the worst record in the league maybe 3 years in a row.
I think
maybe if the Rockets wouldn't do something, we should be like, maybe that's a good thing to do. I don't know.
By the way, Quickly is, if you could draw or like create on NBA 2K a perfect point guard to put next to Jalen Green and help maximize Jalen Green, it's Emmanuel Quickly. It's like, it's so, and this is like the thing I'm saying about like other fan bases. I guarantee you, if you polled every single NBA fan, like all the casual fans, everyone, who is a better basketball player between Kevin Porter Jr. and Emmanuel Quickly, I would be willing to bet Kevin Porter Jr. gets over 50% of the vote, which is like actually embarrassing. And like, I bet there are Knicks fans who think that. I bet there are Knicks fans who love Kevin Porter Jr.
There are Knicks fans who think Alonzo Trier is better than him.
Right, exactly. So like, Kevin Porter Jr. isn't even a crazy stretch.
All those people are all stupid. That's the thing.
No, they are. And like, look, this is what we're talking about. We're talking about star level impact. The Rockets obviously wouldn't be like a playoff team, but if you put Quickly on the Rockets right now, and let's just say they didn't even have to trade anything. Let's just say you put Quickly on the Rockets and Kevin Porter Jr. became the 6th man. It's a fucking tough team, man. Like, Quickly immediately makes them so much better. Like, I don't even know. I don't even want to put a cap the ceiling. But like, Jabari Smith's been playing way better lately, and Quickly would elevate him because Quickly elevates everybody. He'd develop an amazing 2-man game with Sengun. Like, yeah, they still have lots of problems, but they also like sneakily have guys who can play basketball who aren't being allowed to play basketball because there's no structure. There's nothing on that team. There isn't good coaching. But like Martin Jr., Tari Eason, these guys want to play winning basketball. I've seen it. I've seen them want to do it. And somebody like Quickly would just be so huge for them. And the idea that there are people out there laughing at it or like, oh, like we already have Kevin Porter Jr. is just, man,
Kevin Porter Jr. is literally one of the dumbest basketball players I've ever watched in my life. That dude is a fucking moron, and he sucks.
Well, I mean, when Emmanuel Quickly wins Game 3 of the playoffs for us after hoisting up the 6th Man of the Year trophy, that is his path to stardom right there.
Is Ice Spice on Brian Daboll?
Yes. His dad in the recovery off double teams is not always great. Modern hairless basketball. Paul Park says, per Begley, that the IQ Grimes, RJ Hartenstein lineup had never played before.
If Tibbs has his druthers, they'll never play again.
Yeah. Yeah, they'll never play again.
This is a
But
one-night
Ballpark
only.
also says it's a nice, interesting small ball full of connectors and defense. I mean,
It's almost like we should do
Jeff,
that
this
more.
is just this seems like a lineup that we would have concocted last year if like Hart
Yeah,
was on
for
the
sure.
team last year. Because we used to do this all the time after every post game. We'd be like, what would this lineup of like IQ, Deuce, RJ, whatever this other person was, and like Mitch, and we'd be like what would that team look like? How or we would be like, or we would look at the lineup data and we'd be like, how many minutes has this lineup played together? And you'd be like 5 minutes they've played together, and it'd be insanity, and their ratings would be like off the charts too. But I'm so glad we got to see something like this in a meaningful basketball game, because that's the most important thing.
You know,
And
usually quickly only feasts against bench units. So,
dude, they can't make up their mind. First, it's his impact is only good because he's playing bench units. Now he has an unfair advantage because he started.
He's playing starters minutes.
Which fucking is it? I don't understand. Like,
Well,
shouldn't
it was
Brogdon
funny.
have a huge advantage because he's not starting games ever because his team doesn't actually view him as the sixth man? Shouldn't that be a huge advantage for him because he only plays bench units? No, the team is way better without him. Obviously, like God, I don't even want to underrate Brunson or Brogdon. He's had such a nice year, but these people make it
Screw
so
Brogdon.
hard.
He's a Boston
Idiot.
Celtic.
That guy who writes for Action Network, like, it's offensive to me because it's offensive to me because I was a professional gambler for 15 years. I've had so much more success than he has, and
talk your shit.
Look, so much more success than this guy has in all forms of gambling, and I'm a fucking microcosm of the poker world. If somebody came to me and was like, "Hey, man, we're starting a poker site and we want somebody to give advice on like, tournament strategy," I would say no because I have respect for people and I wouldn't accept their money. This guy is writing articles when he can't beat gambling. Like, he can't beat it, but he's giving advice on it. And then he's quoting people and like, oh, Quickly's only averaging 12 and 4 when he's citing counting stats as impact. It's
Dude, he said Quickly was default. Like, what are you talking about? He was literally
plus 10,000 a month ago. They did a podcast on it and didn't mention Quickly. Default. Like, fuck, man. Like, just take the L. It's not that hard. Why are people?
It's the funny thing about this, right? Is that a month ago when he was a plus 10,000, I was just like, he's not going to win because clearly, like, there's no agenda, like, there's no momentum being pushed for him. Mm-hmm. And like, as soon as I said that, I don't know what the fuck happened, but it was already picking up even before that Boston game. Like, the odds had already shifted huge, and then like
we started talking about it here on the post game a bunch.
Yeah, and it's real. I mean,
Definitely,
I think
especially.
I don't know what the fuck happened, but then you like all of a sudden you got like fucking Zach Lowe and Chris Herring talking about, and they're like, Zach Lowe basically is like guaranteeing he's gonna win it yesterday. I mean, it's pretty wild. He is gonna win it now. It's obvious. Like all the momentum is with him. The narrative is in his favor. He's a fun player. We talked about I had Jake Fisher on the pod yesterday, which is pretty good. If you didn't check that out yet, definitely do. He dropped a lot of good tidbits.
By Schwinn.
Yeah, shameless plug. But like he like talked about how, and it's true. It's like there's like this fucking weird energy Quick plays with. When he's like shaking his head and he's like jumping up and down the court and he's doing all these weird celebrations that he's like come up with new ones all of a sudden. He was doing this thing for a while and then now he's got that going on. He's like, I remember he had a 3 against, it might have been the Jazz, and somebody was like yelling at him when they was on the bench and he pointed at 3 of them. Like he's just, again, like I would hate him if I was probably like a fan of another team. So I'm just like, who is this fucking like I don't know if I know Jeff has seen it. I don't know if all of you guys have seen The Sopranos, but it's like he's like the happy fucking wanderer. That's what Quickly. He's just out there joyfully prancing around, spreading the word of Jesus while he's dropping 30 bombs on you. Like, it's just he's such a fun player to root for. And
yeah, he's literally doing this, and he's probably say Corinthians 4:13. Like, do you know how pure and innocent that is? Like, God,
he's just he just plays now with like such a, and especially these last 2 games, it hasn't been like the same kind of total joyfulness, but it's like it almost feels like I don't know what the hell happened, but maybe that moment we're gonna look at it, and that moment he had with Julius at halftime in the Orlando game was like the moment that he just was
shift.
like well, he was like, no, fuck this. Like, no, I'm as good as you. Like,
I'm
fuck
better
you.
than you.
Yeah, like I don't need to like defer to anybody on the basketball court. I can call my own number because since that, I mean, that OKC that Houston game, he just like he was the best player on the floor, and he was the best player on the floor the entire fucking way. And tonight, I thought he was the best player on the floor, and it's like when you get to that level, and it's like it's different when you're feeling it. Like I know he shot well today, but today wasn't a game where you're like, oh, he's just fucking cooking up. Like he was just manipulated everything today. Like
He was
it was like
commanding.
it was like a genius type of performance. It was incredible. And watching this, I mean, if this is the guy, look, I don't care what the fuck. If he wants, if he wants to start, he gets to start. If he wants to fucking come off the bench and get paid a max contract, that's fine with me. Because the guy that you're seeing and that we've seen, I think for basically most of the season, like, dude is like an invaluable player to any team. He is invaluable.
I mean, the moment he came into the game today, he immediately shifted the tide of the game.
Both times.
Yeah, and I think Zach Lowe said something interesting about him, and I think this is actually he's like. I think he called him something like a sixth starter who can just like he's shape shifts. I think that's what he said. Shape shifts into lineups, and like that's probably the best way to explain exactly what he is. He can be your starting point guard. He can come off the bench and play next to a point guard. Come off the bench, be your backup point guard, and he can do all that and be a positive and defend multiple positions and cover up. Jeff talked about this. Like he's literally making rotations because he's anticipating that. Randall might miss a rotation, that Brunson might miss a rotation, that RJ, like he's just playing at such a fucking incredible level, and he's done it now for like 3 years, and it's just he gets better every year. I don't know, it's just a special kid, and probably the best Knicks draft pick in terms of value and all that type of shit. Maybe ever. I have no idea, but like, I mean, between him and Grimes again,
Pick 25.
Trade back, baby. Or
He's
maybe we might need to just trade into the draft
saying.
because Dallas fucking stupid.
That steal he had in the third quarter that led to a reverse layup for him. The Heat had an advantage. He was guarding two people and baited the guy into making the wrong pass and tipped the pass.
He also had an advantage in the first quarter. He took them 1-on-3 and got an and one.
That was so cool.
Like
fucking
he's
Max
just amazing.
He's amazing. Yep.
That Euro step finish he had in transition in the third quarter, or it might have been the fourth. I don't remember what it was.
It was the play I was just talking about.
That was I could not. I thought you were talking about the one in the first half where he drew the foul on Strus or whatever. That's what I thought you were talking about.
No. The Heat were swinging the ball. Like they swung the ball, and it was a really nice play by them. And quickly was responsible for two guys on the weak side, and he baited the pass. And like he has no business stealing that ball, especially a guy his size. And he's just so good. His instincts are so good, but he's so intelligent. He's so good. It's crazy that being a Knicks fan for this long, it's just I don't know what this is. I've never seen anything like this. Like I've seen better players, but a 25th overall pick just panning out this well. And then we did it the next year. We got Grimes. Yeah. Like we have not given Grimes his due, and like he was so good. Like that's crazy that we nailed those two picks back-to-back years so hard.
Yeah, I mean, it's also funny because both picks elicited like, what are the Knicks doing? Why could they? How would they? Why are they reaching for this player? And it's like, first of all, I just never understand that because I'm like, if you have
at that point in the draft,
if you have somebody 35 on your board, and somebody else has them like 25, there's really not that big of a difference probably. So, they were both great picks. Quickly's obviously getting to the level now where you're like, is this guy a star? And then Grimes, like, I mean, again, first of all, the steal Quickly had today, that steal you're talking about, reminded me of the steal he had last year against Miami too, in the fourth quarter where he split the swing pass and took it all the way against Strus. But like Grimes, the game, like these last three games, obviously he's hitting threes, which always makes him look better. But like the defense is there, and you're seeing a little bit more, not just like attacking closeouts, but also like confidence in himself to take guys off the bounce. And most of the time when he does that, he's still like leaning into playmaking for others. But it's really encouraging to see that. And it's encouraging to see that at this point in the season because this is a time where he could easily be like, "Oh, I'm just going to play with my role. I'm not going to try to do anything too crazy." And it feels like he's actually taking on more responsibility right now. And obviously at the key stage of the season, it's fucking awesome. Like he's been so impressive. I think tonight might have been the best game of his career. I don't even think, I think it is the best game of his career. You consider the opponent, the stakes, the fact that he was the only guy that had anything going in the first quarter while the rest of the starters were pissing and pooping themselves. He was fucking great tonight. He was awesome. And yeah, you're right. Like we talked about Quickly a ton, but Grimes is just fucking
this is
tremendous.
the Quickland.
Yeah, that's true.
To be fair.
Yeah, it's our agenda to root for players on our team, which is amazing.
I can't believe you're pushing an agenda.
Horror.
Quickly hype is so insane. I cannot believe that you're rooting for a player on the team.
All right, here we go.
It's the most annoying thing because it's pure projection. Because it's only what those people are doing. Yeah. They're taking what they're doing and projecting it onto other people. And it's like, I promise you, we would be just as loud as any other Nick was doing this. It's just so frustrating.
RJ said he changed into his good luck shoes at halftime. Never let this dude walk into a Foot Locker again. What are his good luck shoes? What was he wearing in the second half?
Those are the shoes that he. Those are his post-breakup shoes.
Interesting. Nafi Malhuda says, on a scale from 1 to 10, how concerned are we with teams targeting Brunson down the stretch? 6-minute halves for Deuce in a playoff matchup would be ideal, in my opinion.
I'll say this. I hope that Brunson is still just coming back from injury and just sort of not all the way there, because he wasn't this big a liability in the middle of the season, but teams also weren't hunting him to this degree. So I can't say for sure that if they hunted him to this degree in the middle of the season, he wouldn't have been a liability. It looked like a liability like he does right now. With that being said, it's a concern. I'm very concerned. And I mean, luckily we have a bunch of good defenders. So if Quickly keeps playing like this, you don't bench Jalen Brunson, obviously, but we should be able to mitigate the. Look, I mean, this was. I'm gonna steal from. I saw somebody on Twitter said, I forget who it was, and I apologize to that person. But this character, I never thought Tibbs would bench Brunson ever. I never thought he wouldn't close a close game, especially the Heat. We're playing the Heat and Julius is out, and he stuck with the kids and put the keys in Quickly's hands. You're talking about character development. That is, I would have called you insane. I would have said no chance he would ever do that.
Yeah, rose up down from the rafters and did this, and Tom Thibodeau was like, okay.
So yeah, I mean, look, you're obviously not. You just hope Brunson puts up a better effort as he gets more and more, as he gets closer to 100%, because we don't know what he's at right now. So you don't want to say anything definitively, but it is a concern.
The nice thing is if we avoid the plan, that gives him an extra. I mean, if we don't avoid the plan at this point, that will be like a real I mean, I haven't experienced quite a collapse like this in a long time.
You haven't been a Mets fan.
Yeah, I was gonna make a Mets joke actually. But anyway, yeah, assuming the worst doesn't happen here, we'll avoid the plan. That should buy him an extra 3 or 4 days of rest also.
A week.
Yeah. So that would be huge. I mean, the ideal scenario is if we can get that 5 seed wrapped up before the last 2 games, then you just I don't care, man. You sign a bunch of 10-day guys. I don't give a fuck. Just play some bums.
Daquan Jeffries minutes.
Yeah, I don't care.
Trevor Keels, 30 ball. Yeah. Anyone?
Chris Copeland, 30 ball.
Deuce, Trevor Keels, fucking
Daquan Jeffries.
Yeah, Daquan Jeffries.
Call up Dwayne Washington. He's in
Sims,
Westchester.
And one other fucking guy. They can all just play 48 minutes for the last 2 games apiece. I don't care.
Sounds like 48 minutes. I'm in.
Right. I think I would say I'm concerned about it. My feeling about this team is this: the reason I don't think this team really is a contender right now is I still don't think they have a superstar. Like I don't think they have that top 10 type of guy that you need to really compete at the top of the league.
Dude,
but what
we
they
just
do,
talked about Emmanuel quickly for like 50
know.
minutes.
I
Come
know.
on.
I know.
Best player on the championship team, dude.
Okay.
Come on.
Yeah. All that being, all that said, I still think like, but what they do have is they have a lot of flexible pieces, and we saw that flexibility today down the stretch. And it's not just flexible pieces; it's guys that just have a really high level of impact because they have high floors and that pair well together and that make a lot of good decisions and make extra rotations and try hard and all that type of shit. And like, I don't think even Brunson or Randall, nobody on this team is so good that they should close no matter what the opponent, no matter the situation, no matter how well or bad they're playing. Like, there's nobody that should be really in that mold. I mean, if there is one, I would probably argue it is Quickly more so than anybody because of his versatility, and then maybe Hart or Grimes, like those, because those three guys, they're just so easy to play in almost any lineup construction, any roster construction. But but there are going to be games where you need somebody to just get you a bucket. And Brunson, I don't care if he struggled tonight. He is the best guy on the team in in those moments where you're just like, just get me a bucket. Get me a shot right now. We need you to stop the bleeding. He's still the best guy on the team in terms of stopping the bleeding, and giving you a stabilizing kind of offensive force. So, I just think, like, I am nervous to answer the question about Brunson. Like, I am a little bit nervous about it. I'm not as nervous about it as Jeff because I do feel like he's playing a little bit within himself right now, defensively anyway. But he does need to pick it up. I mean, and I didn't he had 2 plays today where he thought he got fouled and he stayed back arguing with the refs instead of getting back. And it's like, I get
That's
it.
becoming such a bad habit with this team too.
Yeah, I get it, but
just
it's like, come on. Yeah, like, just give me especially in this game tonight. It's one thing if you're doing it against like the fucking Rockets, right? Like, this game tonight was just, come on. Like, we don't need to
lock in.
We don't need to piss away possessions because you want to tell Tony Brothers that fucking Duncan Robinson grazed your left arm. Like, just shut up and get back, dude. Like, nobody cares. But yeah, I mean, I'm a little bit concerned by it, but I mean, here's the other thing with Brunson, and this is on Tibbs too. Like, this is up to him. We do have the ability to cover for him defensively in certain lineups, depending on how we want to structure them. I'll tell you what, if there are games where Randall just doesn't have it defensively, like he did not have it at points tonight, you need to be able to sit him. You need to be able to sit Brunson at the end of a game like he did sit Brunson at the end of this game when the team has it rolling without those guys. Like, this shouldn't just be about Brunson, right? Like, because we've seen the team have it rolling and then he brings Randall back in because he always brings Randall back in. It should always be like that.
Can I ask you guys? So last game, I know it was the Rockets, so like take it with a grain of salt. I thought Obi was really, really bad in the Rockets game, and Tibbs played him from the 12-minute mark to the 4-minute mark of the second quarter. And like, that game was closer than I had imagined Tibbs wanted it to be. And I kept waiting for him to be like, okay, we got to get Randall back in. Like, Obi, you're terrible. Obi played really well in the second quarter, and Julius hadn't gotten hurt, and Julius was awful. Like, were you guys at all surprised that he went back to Randall as early as he did?
I thought it was
This
weird.
is not like, oh, Tibbs got him hurt. Not what I'm saying. I'm genuinely curious. Like,
it was just after Obi had hit that 3 too, I think, right?
No, yeah, he hit the 3, and then he tossed the alley
made the lob.
Yeah,
he made the lob.
He threw the pass to Ihart that nobody ever throws to him. Nobody has ever hit him when he's open under the basket, but Obi makes the pass immediately, and Tibbs is like, gotta get him out of here. And I was just so surprised. I was like, man, Obi's playing so well. Like, I was surprised he didn't leave him in.
Yeah, I mean, this was a really good Obi game today, I thought, in his limited minutes. I mean, he did have some. He's got to he has this really weird habit he's been doing this year where he gets caught behind, like, he sinks in away off his man so much off the 3 line, which is fine. I understand that's a scheme, but he somehow always manages to position himself behind. Like, he did it today. He just stood behind Bam so that when he had to go out to Kevin Love, it took him like an extra 2 seconds. It's so weird that he keeps doing that. But I thought he played well tonight. Offensively, again, we talked about the passing his quick decision making passing. This is the first time in a while I feel like he's flashed that to the level that like you want to see. And I love that his first play of the game today, he got a pass in the corner. He could have shot the three, pump faked, put the ball on the floor, and then he hit quickly in the corner for an open three. Quickly didn't make it, but it was like I was like, that's what I want to see. I don't want to see you just like, well, I'm in the corner. I just got to shoot these threes. I understand your role sucks right now, but you can still do more in that role than you've been doing. And I do feel like maybe he got injured, right? What was his injury again? It was his knee or something?
His tibia.
Yeah, I do wonder if like one, if there's some physical stuff that he's still feeling from it, and or two, if there's some mental like hurdle he had to get over, because it's been so noticeable how unwilling he's been to go inside this year, to like attack a closeout and attack the rim and just try to make shit happen off the dribble. We've seen a little bit more of it the last couple of games. And it's not always been good, mind you, but we have seen him do it more the last few games. So I do wonder if like he's now starting to feel better, or he's mentally, whatever, maybe he's now comfortable, more comfortable on the court or whatever it is. But like, again, like with anybody on this team, if the guy's in the rotation, I mean, he's not been good for like the last while. Like I would say month, 2 months, whatever it is. If he even if he's only going to play, right, 13, 14, 15 minutes in a game, if he's good for those minutes, it is a big boost for us. Like, and it does add something to that second unit. So like, it's important that he gets going. It's important that it's important that RJ gets going before the playoffs come around. You know what I mean? Like, it's not just Brunson and Randall. There's still other guys that we're like, we need to get this guy going. I mean, Grimes was like that for a while too. We were like, there was like games where I'm like, is Grimes gonna like make a three ever again? Is that gonna happen?
Is he gonna shoot?
Yeah, is he gonna shoot? Like, so it's been really good to see him pick it up, and like hopefully, Brunson picks it up again before the season ends, and Randall comes back from his injury and gets over whatever little malaise he's going through right now. Obi too, and RJ too. Like, there's just, and honestly, Mitch, I'm like, I don't know what's been going on. Mitch has been really weird the last 3 or 4 games, where it's like, it feels like even in that Rockets game, right? Like, he just didn't have anything in the first half, and then the third quarter comes around, and he's just like, well, I'm gonna block everything now. I'm blocking everything, and it's just like, can you do this from the start? I mean, I thought he had a weird game again tonight. So, look, Obi was good to see that shit, and the Brunson thing, we'll see. I'm concerned, but I would probably say like, what, I'm a 5. I'm like, right in the middle. I'm like, it's concerning, but I'm not losing my mind about it right now.
Yeah, I would say I'm a 5 or 6. I mean, it's always concerning when you have a defensive liability, and when teams make it a concerted effort to expose that defensive liability. It's something that I wish we did in our first playoff matchup versus the Hawks. Of course, we didn't have the personnel to expose Trae Young to the ability that I would love to have done, but it's what teams are doing now to us with Brunson, and it is always going to be concerning when you have that liability. But like Schwinn said, we do have the personnel to cover up for him. It's a matter of Thibs actually utilizing that personnel the right way to do so. So I'm around like a 5 or a 6 as well. So
yeah, I'm at a 5 too.
I just want to
right now.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, you're
I just want to say, because we were talking about Obi, I've always thought that the hate he got on defense was a little bit overblown. Like, he's never going to be a good defender, but he does certain things well. I don't know if anybody appreciates when I do this random stuff, but whatever. There was a possession in the second quarter where the Knicks missed a shot, and because of whatever, somebody went for an offensive rebound or whatever was happening, Bam had IQ on an island on the block, and Obi ran over and tapped quickly on the shoulder and quickly knew immediately what was happening. And Obi took Bam from quickly recovered onto the guy, the guard that Obi was crossed onto. And they fed Bam because they said, like, literally the pass was in the air as the switch was happening. Obi got the stop and then turned around and boxed Bam out and grabbed the rebound. And it was just such an impressive defensive possession. It really sums him up. He's such an intelligent player, and he's just always so aware on both ends of the court all the time that even with like physical limitations and sometimes like he's not Julius Randle, like for example, but his floor is actually relatively high just because of what's happening in between his ears. It makes me excited to watch him, honestly, not on the Knicks. Like, as sad as that is to say, he'll just never be able to marry his peak physical abilities with what's happening in between his head on this team. But whatever, that conversation's for another day. I just want to point out that possession.
Yeah, he does that all the time. He's like one of the best on the team at it. That's actually something he does well, and it stands out because Randall doesn't always do that well. Like, Randall has obviously other things he can do defensively that Obi could never do, right? Like, when Randall's engaged, again, I truly mean this. Like, when Randall gives a shit on defense, he's a fucking nightmare. Like, he completely changes your baseline as a defense when he gives a fuck, because his switchability and his ability to stick with guys on island is special. But that thing that Obi does it's always noticeable. He did it in the last game too against Houston at one point. So yeah.
I'm with Zach here. IQ is definitely about to make me some couple $100. So shout out Emmanuel quickly. Winning 6th man of the year. Calling it now.
Well, that's real brave of you, Sam.
Whoa.
Yeah, real bold there.
How brave.
That I don't know if you can say that out loud, man. That's I don't know.
Take some real balls to make that call, huh?
All right, so we got the Cavs on Friday. As I'm looking for next question to address, get the Cavs coming in. Well, we're going to the Cavs on Friday. Actually, we already had our MSG games. How are we feeling about that game?
That game might be the worst game to watch because I don't know. Like, I think the Knicks will play like Brunson and stuff, but like if I'm the Cavs, I'm just probably resting. Like, I don't want to give up anything.
You don't think the Cavs have? I guess Philly won tonight. I was gonna ask if you thought they had an incentive to go for the 3, but they don't.
Nah.
Three,
so I'm just
three
like,
games back on.
yeah. So I'm kind of like, if I'm the Cavs, I don't want to get beat up. So might as well just like, maybe you play a little bit, but like,
Are the Cavs basically locked in as the 4 seed at this point?
Essentially.
They're 2.5 back of Philly. Philly, I mean, Philly won tonight. Actually, that's big because I don't think did Embiid play tonight.
Yes.
Oh, he ended up playing.
And Harden did too.
Okay, so I mean, what Sixers have? The Sixers have Toronto, who's been playing a lot better since they got Pirtle. They got the Bucks on Sunday. They have the Celtics. They have Miami. They have the Hawks. They got the Nets. That's actually a pretty brutal schedule down the stretch here. I think they might have the hardest remaining schedule in the league. The Cavs have, I think they have the easiest. They have us. Then they have the Pacers, who are definitely not trying to win basketball games anymore. They have Orlando.
They let draw. They score 50. They're definitely not trying to win.
Yeah, they have Orlando. They have the Magic. They have 2 games. They have a back-to-back against Orlando, home and home, and they play the Hornets. I mean, it's still possible they could get the 5 seed. So I don't think they're going to mail it in. I would suspect they try to win this game.
I think the Knicks should at least rest Brunson. I don't see like look. We're going to be underdogs, and maybe I'm too just like robotic with this stuff, but Brunson and Randall being healthy as they can be for the playoffs has to be the most important thing at this time. And like, even if we had a healthy Brunson, healthy Randall and went for it, like, what are we, 4-point underdogs, 4.5-point dogs or something? Like, we're really chasing 46% win equity or whatever it would be, 45%. I'd rather just not give up additional information to this team we've handled. Try some more unique lineup combos, Josh Hart and RJ at the wings. Let the kids, be comfortable in these moments, in these environments, and just let Brunson rest, man. Let's give him a couple more days off.
Well, Randall's probably not going to play that game.
Right. That's
so
fine.
It's like, yeah.
So just run a 9-man rotation am I being stupid? I think you can run a 9-man rotation just with Deuce for Brunson, right? Or is that wrong?
Well, you got to put someone in for Randall.
Oh, yeah. Balls.
Evan.
Free Daquan.
Evan probably plays.
Okay.
I look legitimately. Somebody posted this in the comments here, but like I actually did forget that Evan and Derrick Rose are on the team.
Holy shit, you're right.
They haven't been the best cheerleaders. I'll say that.
Well, Derrick is not there. He's ill.
No, he was on the bench with a mask tonight.
Oh, was he?
I got something
Yeah.
for you guys.
He's in street clothes.
There's this guy in a space that I frequent, and like often he comes in and he always says the same thing. He always says that he thinks Tibbs is saving Derrick Rose for the playoffs. And like I hate Sean from the Knicks Wall as the guy who hosts it, and he's like, I love you, man. He always is so nice. He's always just like, I love you, man. I appreciate you coming in, but that's not happening. We need to stop talking about it.
The guy needs to get off drugs. Zach Composto says he saw someone on Twitter saying that Brunson was actually encouraging Thibs to keep that lineup in tonight.
He walked off. Like he probably did walk off the score table, just like.
So that's the magic right there. Brunson is the one that controls Thibs.
That's like part of the reason. I forgot who said this. It might have been Tim McMahon. He talked about on a podcast that I think he said something like the biggest concern about losing Brunson wasn't just like obviously what he does on the floor, but that he was like a big part of the locker room the last few years in Dallas. Mm-hmm. And I just think stuff like that, like he actually, like he's been Quickly's biggest cheerleader, right? Like it'd be easy for him to like not. I mean, it says a lot about both of them how well they've gotten along, but it'd be so easy for them to like have some like adversarial
rivalry.
Relationship, yeah, and it's not like that at all. And like if that's true, if that's what he did tonight, that speaks volumes about the type of leader he is. Where it's like
he's got to cheer for the guy who's better than
him. But it's like he's basically like he's willing. He basically was just like, I think they're good, bro. Like they're good. I don't think they need me tonight. They look pretty good out there. And yeah, I mean, it's been awesome. So he's been great. The fact that he's doing shit like that, again, if that's true, that's highly encouraging to me for a lot of reasons. Because you know that like Brunson wants to be out there. You know what I mean? So for him to have that kind of like selflessness in that moment says so much about him.
Jake Andrews, the chips are good, by the way, and they are kettle cooked potato chips, sea salt, and cracked pepper.
Not kettle cooked jalapeno. It's fucking soft.
Hot ass breath, bro.
Yeah.
All right.
Soft. Sam out here just saying he's fucking been softened by the liberal media.
All right. All right, conservative shit. Larry Elzio asks, how did the Dallas Mavericks hide Jalen Brunson all the way to the Western Conference Finals?
They had Maxi Kleber and fucking
Dorian Finney-Smith.
That was just because Phoenix fell apart.
Reggie Bullock, Frank
and
Ntilikina.
Utah sucks ass. The end.
That too.
Shout out Reggie Bullock and Frank Ntilikina.
But also, like, I just don't think. I think Brunson. He'll be fine. I think he'll step it up in the playoffs. He'll be much better than
he was good enough offensively that
all he has to do is be good enough offensively and be like not disastrous on defense, and you're fine.
I'm also not sure they really did hide him. I'm looking at the on-off data, and it's not very flattering for. Man, Frank's on. His defense was so good in the playoffs. I'm looking at the playoffs now.
He's still like one of their biggest plus-minus heroes, Frank, this year.
Yeah, I mean, Brunson with Brunson on the court in the playoffs, they allowed 114 points per 100. With him off the court, they allowed a team best 104 points per 100 possessions, and that was 3 points worse than any other Maverick. So they didn't really hide him as the answer. They were much worse.
Why are you just Tyrese in here twice? That was weird.
I had to remove the other one because I was like, what the hell?
I think I'm just going to blame Luka.
That's a good idea.
Yeah. That is the best thing to do, as we can see how things are going so swimmingly right now.
He just needs more help, man.
Yeah, Kyrie calling it a clusterfuck lets you know how bad it is. Like,
I mean,
did the Mavericks lose today?
Yeah, they did.
He's gonna milk that clusterfuck all the way to a max contract with Dallas.
Oh, it's so. Kyrie Irving's actually gonna get $200 million from a basketball team. That's actually hilarious, dude.
Yeah, it's good stuff.
And that team has nothing else to build alongside of him. It's so funny. Oh man, I love
It's how you know Adam Silver is going to step in, as Sam has said frequently.
It's so
Like,
obvious. It's so obvious.
He can't. Luka's too valuable to the league. He's got to do something. Like, they're gonna get. I can see them binking really hard. Like, not just like top 3. Like, I can see them just getting Wembanyama. Honestly, like, and like, oh,
Dallas?
now they've got the two non-Americans, and oh, it's a perfect. It's honestly too perfect. Like, I don't know, maybe I'm paranoid, but it just seems.
Nah.
It
You
seems
might have gotten an
seems-
early copy of Adam Silver's script sent to you just now, because like that just sounds
Somebody-
exactly like what he would do.
Somebody needs to clip this for when it happens. You know.
Oh yeah,
Prophetic-
definitely.
Prophetic Sam and prophetic Jeff.
Oh my gosh, David Goodman with like probably we're gonna end off with this comment. Imagine if the Knicks blowing that game in Dallas is what gets us their pick.
dude.
That would be pretty funny.
Wow.
I mean,
That
it's the thing. The
would be
funniest
chef's
possible
kiss.
outcome is them having the 10th worst odds, and somebody jumping up. That's the real dream scenario for me.
That's the sucker punch.
Yeah,
At that
that-
point, you're just like, you have to fold the franchise. You can't come back from that.
At that point, they just need to trade us Luka for Fournier and Rose's expiring contracts.
Yeah, and then we trade Luka and get like all the picks.
That would actually be hilarious.
Just imagine they get Luka and they're just like, nah, we don't even want him. We just want to get him from you.
Trade Luka for Tatum. We'll fix Tatum.
Oh my gosh.
All
right.
That'd be great.
I think we can end here. Is there any last thoughts by anyone else before we head out?
Stop letting ball guys write on Twitter. Because apparently there are no good ones left.
No good ones.
Honestly, like I do have like a nicer version of that. Like there's just people on that app. They're parasites, and their sole goal is engagement. There's only one answer. It's avoidance. Stop trying to.
And
dunk
they have
on
no
these.
soul.
Just like they're never gonna like change their minds. They're dug in, or they're just full on trolling, and this is the point. But like every single time you quote tweet something moronic that they say and try to dunk on them, all you're doing is giving them the engagement they want. That's it. There's no point to it. And it makes me mad because it shows up on my fucking timeline. And I die a little bit on the inside every time I see it. It's like, if you just ignored, it's like Louis C.K. has this joke where he's like, if we just ignored peanut allergies for like a generation, that we would just be gone, you know? If we just ignored these idiots for like a week, they would all disappear because they don't add anything of value to anything. They just don't.
Well,
So the only thing
it adds value to my timeline because I get to dunk on them, and that's what really makes me happy. It brings me joy. I don't have anything else.
I try not to. I had to respond to one last week. I forgot even what the fuck it was. I just had to, but I try not to. But it is fun to see everybody else dunking on them.
At least Stacey,
I have fun dunking on them.
Was like defending your honor, Schwen. Like he was being a friend, you know. Like I respect that, you know. Like, and me and him were talking about it. He was like, it pissed me off that Schwenn's point of view was being so misrepresented. Like that these idiots came on here were basically accusing Schwenn of having a narrative against RJ. Like he might not be right, but he's saying what he believes, and it hurts Schwenn and hurts Strickland if people associate him with these other people who are just seeking to push narratives, and that's it. And like, so I respected Stacey, and like, because I DM'd him and I was like, dude, please keep me out of this. I don't want to be associated with these people.
Well,
and he was like, yeah, man, I'm sorry, I just had to defend Schwenn.
The funny thing is, like, people were like, oh, like they went behind a paywall. They need to generate shit to get people to click. And I'm like, I don't think that, like, we've been behind a
Where have people been? This has been us this whole time.
We've also had a paywall for like a year and a half, 2 years now. And more fuck that. The hilarious part is I'm like, do you really think like we have a big fucking staff meeting and Alex is like, all right, guys, we need
What's the way we're gonna get clicks now?
We need to start shitting on RJ Barrett. That's the next, like, what no, like we shit on Randall last year because he played like an asshole. And this year he's getting plenty of praise, right? From from the people like myself.
No,
who
Schwinn,
shit
we
on
had a
him.
staff meeting about that too. We said
That's
we were
right.
going to change our angle.
Right, and it's like look,
Technically, we
RJ.
did have a staff meeting.
I
just
defended
showed.
RJ. I said RJ. I was happy with him tonight, even though he played like shit in the first half, or offensively played shit in the first half. So it's not that hard. It's just like, hey, dude, if you play like a fucking asshole, I might eventually get annoyed by it, and I might lose my mind and say something. Like, that's it. It's not that deep. And like, why would I be rooting against RJ Barrett? Like, he's literally on the fucking Knicks. Like, yeah, I'm gonna like, oh
Schwinn,
yeah,
I had
dude.
no idea. I thought he was on Brooklyn.
It's just like, I'm rooting against. I'm rooting against fucking our starting, three, who was the highest draft pick since Patrick Ewing, who we signed to a fucking $107 million extension. Yeah, I'm actively rooting for him to be bad, to push my quickly narrative, which I'm like,
and that's what I was saying earlier, where I was saying it's pure projection.
Yeah.
Those guys actively root against Quickly. They're accusing you of doing what they do. Dude, in the Discord, somebody screenshotted an image of, I'm not gonna say his name, pushing Brogdon propaganda. A Knicks guy was like, how does Brogdon not win 6? It's like, what are you talking about? Are you that desperate to finally get one right? It's so sad.
Well, let me tell you some of what's going to be funny is when he's not right again. And Quickly win 6 Man of the Year. And Brogdon, you can tell me whatever you stat boys don't get it. Listen, motherfucker, if a guy is he's coming off the bench for the Celtics and the team is worse with him on the floor, probably means he's not that. I'm not saying that means he's bad. Probably just means he's not that important to their success. That's the exact opposite of Emmanuel Quickly. Like, Quickly is invaluable to the Knicks team. I was looking this up today. They have a 6-5 record this year without Brunson playing. Do you know why that is? That's because Emmanuel Quickly can be a starting point guard. So even though their depth picks in it,
have you seen Schwinn, people trying to count the Kings loss as a loss without Brunson because he missed the second half when we fucking were down 19 in the half Brunson played and then we came back when he didn't play. Like, oh man, it's just so clear.
And Quickly was terrible that game. And it's just funny because it's like people like, you never criticize Quickly. I'm like, well, look, I actually did say that he played terribly in that game. I said he didn't play well against the Hornets. Here's the problem. Like,
he doesn't play bad.
Yeah, Quickly plays well fucking consistently. So I don't really know what you want me to do. Like, you're shitting on RJ's defense. Yes, because RJ's had long stretches this year where his defense fucking sucks. That's it. Like, I'm sorry, there's not a long stretch of Quickly sucking ass on defense. Like, if that's what you want to happen, that's weird. But like, it hasn't happened.
That's weird. One, and too bad it's never gonna happen. So
yeah, and again, like, RJ played well defensively today. Guess what happened? I said it. I gave him credit for it. It's an amazing thing that happens. If you play well,
you didn't say it was a master class.
Yeah, it was. No, I mean, he hasn't had a master class in since that one of the Heat game. Yeah, he had a really good Heat game, and then he had a really good that Toronto game, which he fucking should have won that game. That was bullshit that we didn't get that foul call at the end, because Scotty Barnes didn't materially affect his ability.
RJ is basically too strong.
Yeah, but like, I would love for RJ Barrett. Like, again, I've talked about this on so many pods. It's like, it's frustrating because if he got his shit together, then and let's say Randall plays at the level he's played at, and Brunson gets back, now I think this team could make like some real noise.
Conference finals.
Yeah, but we need RJ Barrett to really get it together. And today was good, and it's been better since All-Star, because even while he struggled offensively at times, his defense has been a lot better. There's still some times where I'm like, why are you sucking ass on defense? But it's been way better since it was before All-Star break. And tonight was, like, honestly, I think it was one of his better defensive games of the year. So, yeah, I mean, it's not that hard.
And can I just say, because you brought it up before we end the show, like, regarding the paywall stuff, I personally take pride in the fact that, and I'm gonna gas Schwinn up here a little bit. Dude does like 3 podcasts a week, and one of them is just free. Like Strickland gives a ton. Like, Strickland just gives a ton of articles and podcasts and shit away, because I don't think any of us are doing that. Like, yeah, it's cool to, there is obviously some financial incentive, but I think we're doing it because we all love this team. And like, that's why I love being a part. That's why I love coming on here and talking with Sam and Tyrese and Twin every night. And like, the Discord's awesome. You can tell how passionate everyone is about the team. And so like, I don't know, like just being like, oh yeah, they're trying to like grind out every penny. You just could not have a wronger idea about our group of people. And I want to make that very clear that like, I mean, I'm not making these 40 clip threads for the fucking, for the, no offense, for the money that whatever money I may make sometimes, through the site. I'm doing it because I love the team and I love being a part of this group of people. So I don't know. That's just such a false interpretation of what Strickland is and what we do.
Well, gladly no one listens to that loser, so you don't have to worry
I
about
mean,
his opinion
I just think
reaching the masses.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, just last thing is like, I would venture to guess, even with like half the pod Strickland I do on Friday is behind a paywall, and when I do a Strickland roll, I mean, we made Strickland roll free this week with Jake Fisher just because it was short, and I was like, fuck it, like I'm not gonna have him throw this, like split this into 2 fucking 15-minute pieces and throw half it behind a paywall. It's just stupid. But like between the rundown, pod Strickland on Monday, you got draft Strickland that Prez does, you get the mailbag that with Alex, Matt, and Zach, like I would venture to guess we put out more free content out there than most sites have at all. That like even unpaid ones, and then on top of that, like yeah, if you pay more, you get a little bit extra. But like the unpaid comment or the stuff that you just get there's plenty of it. I don't know actually. It's amazing to me that there are people that listen to all of it. I'm like, I don't know how the fuck you guys pull that off, but yeah, I mean. Either way, the point is, I promise you, if we are financially incentivized to do anything, it's not going to be like the thing is not going to be we start shitting on RJ Barrett because somehow that like helps us make money or something. I promise you,
Dude,
RJ Barrett being very good would probably help us in the endeavor of trying to make money more than him sucking ass would be.
My name is literally Frank Barrett on Twitter. It's so insane.
All right. I think on that note, we can end the show. Shout out to everyone that tuned in. At one point, we had 55 live viewers. Make sure y'all leaving a like, subscribe. We appreciate all the support. We are on our way to 1K subs. We just surpassed 700 subs. So shout out to all of y'all that's been tuning in, either when you're watching live or you catch it afterwards. We appreciate all of y'all. Make sure you guys check out all the links in the description. We got links to the site, merch. I am wearing the Strickland University hoodie underneath this Emmanuel Quickly jersey. Tyrese is rocking a pink one. Schwinn is rocking the Strix 90s vibes hoodie. So make sure y'all check out all that stuff in the description. We got links to the Patreon. There's the paywall right there we were just talking about. Check out the stuff that we got, that gives you access to the Discord, access to Strickland Rolls, Schwinn's show, as well as countless other things. And we got links to the Twitter. Follow us on Twitter. We're also on Instagram at thestrick.land. All great ways to support and follow along with what we're doing. Make sure you guys check us out on Friday. We will be back after the Cavs game. Hopefully the Knicks secure another win. And yeah, peace out.